KNAC.com, Hail Space. We have Paul Ryan. Shredder does not even begin to describe this guy. The band Origin since fucking 2000 have just literally been just decimating, melting minds with like what the definition of extreme metal is because of these guys. Since 2000, their self-titled release Origin, and most recently Chaosmos, real clever take, man, real clever title, and another just melting, just brain melting, like is the best way I can just describe. How you doing, Paul? Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Sorry it took a little bit to make this happen, but I'm very happy to be here.
Very cool. And KNAC.com, we recently had one of our contributors review it, and he gave it a 4.5 out of 5, which is really a fucking great rating. And
I'll take it.
Yeah, much deserving, much deserving. We are talking about Chaosmos, your new record that just came out a couple of weeks ago, right? And dude, how's been the reception so far with this new material?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, like, I mean, we went on tour May 5th, and the album came out June 3rd, so it was pretty funny. Like, I think for the first week we didn't have a single release, but we played 2 tracks. We played Ecophagy and Chaosmos, and so people just stood there and watched because they didn't know what to react to or what to do per se. And also it was also great because we got to play their songs and no one knew if we made a mistake or not.
Hey, if you hide it, man, there's no mistake, you know. And at that point, you just call it jazz, you know.
Yeah. It was nice because it playing new material live. There's, I'm sure it goes with every band. It doesn't matter what kind of music you're playing. There's a certain nervousness, about trying to play it correctly, and like it's definitely. It was a challenge for us anyway because Origins never went maybe even 9 months without playing a show, let alone 25 months. So some of the stuff that was just muscle memory over the years was a little bit challenging too. And
sure.
I usually don't get that nervous or hyped up before a show, but I had some pre-tour jitters, some pre-performance jitters, like, oh my goodness, I haven't done this in a long time. So playing new material added to that. So like I said, it was nice that we had a little gap where no one knew if we were playing it wrong or right.
Right. I guess that's a good thing though, right? Like you have these show jitters, like you probably haven't felt that in a while. I think it's good to be nervous a little bit.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get excited about shows. But I'm usually well rehearsed and I'm confident, and the guys I play with, we all have a certain standard that we all adhere to, like we all live in different places. So like, we did rehearse, for about 5 days before this tour. Sometimes, like when an album's been out for a while, we just compose a set while we're apart via text or email or phone messaging or call. And then, we've actually done tours where we never rehearsed together. We just get in the same, but the guys, like there's a certain standard,
of course.
And I'm proud to, jam with John Longstreth. I'm proud to jam with Mike Flores, and I'm proud to jam with Jason Kaiser. Like they all have a certain approach and mentality to do this. And so we try to be professional. We're grateful for our 25-year existence that people actually come and pay money for seeing us live and or our products, t-shirts or whatever. So, like we take it seriously, I mean, I'd hate to be a band where they come see us live and like, man, that sucked.
Like you guys, like the musicianship really shows, and there's a lot of energy. I mean, there are a lot of bands that they just stand there and like, they twiddle their fingers. But with Origin, like you guys give off this massive energy that is translated to the music. And I think that's everybody's just like in awe. You got jaws hitting the floor and like, man, it translates really well live. So you guys do excellent so far. And
thank you. I mean, like I feel like I'm old school now. I don't do like little sit down videos and where I sit down and stare at my guitar hand. That's pretty common nowadays. And people ask me why I don't want to do this. I was like, if you want to see me play, come see me play.
Right.
Come see me play a show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's just, I'm just old school in that approach, I guess.
Right. And these guys, Origins just came off 2 tours. They cut Chaosmos and also Space Control. You had Misery Index on one, and then you also had Abysmal Dawn on the other. And how did those tours go? Like, did you guys cover a lot of ground in the States?
I let's see here. I got to think a little bit. I mean, we played. Well, we entered Canada twice. I think we played 5 or 6 provinces in Canada. We played easily 25 states. I think it was 42 shows in 45 days. And I know we did over 10,000 miles. I mean, so the average person, I don't know about LA because it's a little different because you got to sit in a parking lot, but the average person in North America usually drives about 12,000 miles per year. And we did easily over $10,000 in a month. And we did it DIY. There was just 4 of us and our tour manager, sound guy for the last 14 years. So we didn't have a merch guy. We were on tour in 2020 when this all started, and we wanted to make sure that we didn't get out there and the whole world shut down again. So we just did it stripped down DIY approach. So, but yeah, I don't know if we hit any new territories. We played some spots we hadn't played in, and like some time, but yeah, it was you got to go out there and when you put out an album, to be a touring musician, you have to be a city to city, state to state, country to country salesperson.
No,
basically like you're selling vacuum cleaners, but it's death metal.
I'll take death metal anytime.
Hello. Can I sell you some death metal today?
Yes, door to door with that. Hell yeah. I'll take 2, please. Yes. You mentioned 25 years in existence. The band has been going strong since then, and the recent anniversary of Informis Infinitas Inhumanitas. Did you realize, like when you guys first started out, that you'd be here 25 years later, 20 years later, celebrating this album and still going strong?
Well, here's the thing. I always felt like I call myself a death metal lifer. Like,
hell yeah,
the scene was kind of dying out in that right prior to Origin, when Obituary and Suffocation were like, kind of breaking up, and you know what I mean? Like there's an era.
Oh, yeah.
Even Cannibal Corpse there, when Corpse Grinder started, first of all, he got put through the ringer. There was some really vicious comments out there. But secondly, even the shows turnouts weren't as big, and some of the bands were watering it down. And Cannibal would be like, "Thanks to you, death metal will never die." And that's kind of where my mentality. I mean, they were saying that to the crowd, not directly to me, but it did speak to me.
Sure, of course,
man. I was like, yeah, I think I'm into this death metal for life. I'm a death metal lifer. Origin has more albums than some of, it's weird to say this, but I think Origin has 8 albums now, and Death only had 7. Or or maybe has 8 albums. You know what I mean?
But Origin has pretty much been a consistent unit as well. You mentioned Death, but Chuck always had like a lot of flowing musicians throughout a lot of the albums. But Origin, you guys have been pretty consistent.
Yeah, I mean, the Chaosmos marks the 3rd album with Flores, Kaiser, and Longstreth consecutively. So I'm very proud of that. And I jam with Mike and John over 20 years now, and Jason over a decade. He's the new guy, and he's been in there a decade. So we know how to, we work well together. There's always a part on tour where someone breaks, including myself, where it's like, it's just tough sometimes. But, we've learned to be like, okay, I'm sorry. Let's make this shit work. You know what I mean? That's just part of being a band, like being older, instead of chest bumping and being young like the early days. I mean, that's part of being a band too. I mean, but I never imagined, that, as my parents would say when I was starting at a very young age, happy birthday. I'm surprised you made it. So, so
That's a
I'll say
compliment.
the same to Origin. Happy birthday, Origin. I'm surprised
Yeah.
you made it this far. So,
Yeah. Mighty hails and horns to all the guys in Origin, man. Much appreciated. You guys are the epitome, I think, of one of the best modern death metal bands. Grind, progressive, the definition, the true definition of extreme metal, because extreme, that gets thrown around a lot. And yeah, but you guys are definitely the definition of extreme.
oh well, thank
So
you.
yeah, so
I just try to write. I just try to write good death metal songs at this point.
Yeah, I think you got something there. I think it'll catch on. Don't worry. We're talking with Paul Ryan right here, guitarist for Origin. They just released a new album, Chaosmos, through Nuclear Blast. Welcome back to them. How does it feel to be back with Nuclear Blast?
I mean, it's always been Nuclear Blast has always treated us well. They were doing everything but European territory. It's Agonia and Poland, but Nuclear Blast is Southern California and one of the largest, I think, the largest metal label there is. I mean, there's Century Media, there's Metal Blade, Relapse. So, but I feel like Nuclear Blast, and their roster speaks for itself. I mean, I know Slayer has retired, but they got Testament, they got Exodus, they got Death Angel, they got Suffocation.
Mm-hmm. You're in good company. You're in good company there.
Yeah. So and they're long standing, and they have I'm proud to say, to someone that maybe has never heard Origin, and I'm like, I'll be like, yeah, my band's called Origin. And like, oh, I've never heard of you guys. It's like, oh, you can find us pretty easy. We're on Nuclear Blast, and their eyes kind of, whoa, you're on Nuclear Blast. So the label, is a big name in itself. So happy to be a part of their very distinguished, incredible roster that I'm fans of many of the bands on the label. So
totally. And you guys, would you still consider yourselves underground? I mean, maybe mainstream is kind of I don't know, taboo, a bad word, but you guys would you still consider yourselves underground?
Yeah, I'll use the old Roadrunner thing that they used to say, some music was meant to stay underground, you know what I mean? So showing my age demographic there, but yeah, I still consider us somewhat of an underground band. Like the name is a little different than your Blood and Guts or Satan, your religious themed names, you know what I mean? So maybe people have came up to me and that, man, I thought Origin was like a stoner doom band, you know what I mean? Just by the name, like I thought you guys would be playing with like Nebula or something, you know what I mean? So, when I'll play with, hey, we played with Bongzilla, we played with High on Fire, we played with God, so I'll play with any style of band. I don't, but we played with Dillinger, Escape Plan, and Mastodon, and Today's the Day. So we played in front of those audiences, and the thing is like I think it gives a level of surprise, like because we play with metalcore bands, we play with death metal bands. So I think Origin is still underground because like even though we have done some highly publicity tours like Summer Slaughter, that's like a younger, more like metalcore based tour,
Well, now it is. Before it used to be like much more heavier, and I miss those days, man. I miss those days. You had like you had Origin, you had Suffocation, you had the Faceless, you had Cavity Decapitation, and those. I remember those. Now it's
but now that's the thing. I would be happy. I personally, we do what we do, and one thing that we do is it was like I like playing as the unknown band because we do tend to win fan base over by our live performance. So I still consider Origin. Okay, let's see. How would I explain this? Okay, so let's say upper crust. king of the rats. Yeah, I don't know.
Sure,
Just
sure.
keep it at that. I'm really proud of what we've established in our 25 years.
You should be.
But
Yeah.
there's still room for growth, So
Sure.
we just get us on. If we get on a tour with a name band, I would love for that to happen. So
Of course. Any plans on hitting some big festivals overseas?
We had something booked for this year, but due to there was just we didn't announce it yet. We were waiting on. I hate to speak of the horrible situation in the Ukraine and Russia, but
Right,
we
I know
just
what you
didn't
mean.
feel comfortable. It was early on, and it was just like, I don't know what's going to happen, and based on what happened in 2020, I just didn't want to be in a situation where we get over there and then everything goes bad, and
Yeah.
and hopefully that situation resolves itself.
Yeah.
It's still a scary situation. I know there is touring going on, and I hate to miss out on the opportunities like that, but
Right.
it's kind of one of the situations where maybe when I was younger, I definitely put all the cards in, but nowadays I enjoy my creature comforts at home and stuff.
Sure.
And so looking at we're talking more tours, but just not Europe just yet. So
I feel you. Well, let's touch on that some more. Yes, the past couple of years, especially current times with, you mentioned Russia and Ukraine, but, the last couple of years certainly has been difficult for a lot of people. And what was your mindset? What was going on with you? What was going on with Origin? Like, were you guys on tour and just get cut off? Did you, what happened? What was Paul going through then?
So, hindsight is truly 2020. I was having a great 2020. We, in January of 2020, we did the 70,000 tons of metal cruise. And then we did which is an incredible experience. I recommend it to anyone at least once in your lifetime. If you're a metalhead and want to party for 5 days and you can't go see metal shows because you got a job or whatever, you get to leave wherever you are. If you're somewhere in like Wisconsin in the winter, you get to go to some sunny Florida. Down this year was to Cozumel, or 2020 was Cozumel, Mexico, and back. There's 80 bands. It's 24-hour drinking, 24-hour food, karaoke party time, but incredible experience. And then so I was fortunate enough to say I've done that twice. And then in February of 2020, I think we did 21 shows from Central to South America, from Mexico, Costa Rica, Peru. I might miss some stuff here. Colombia. Oh man, Chile. We did Brazil. So maybe I missed something there. I'm sorry, but and then March of 2020, we were starting. We wanted to do an occupation domination tour again with like some super heavy bands like we did in 2012, I think it was, which was Battlecross, Aborted, Decrepit Bird, Cal Decapitation, Rings of Saturn, and Origin. The order wasn't right there, but that was the tour that we started in 2012. We want to do something like that again. So in 2020, we had it was Defeated Sanity.
Wow, nice.
Beneath the Massacre, and Origin. And there was going to be other bands that joined on regionally, but unfortunately we didn't get to experience that because we started 4 shows, and I think the tour started on March 13th.
Oh man, right there.
That was the first night. We were in Kansas City, one of our backyard, pretty much,
Nice.
original backyard, and that's when they were like, "Oh, people should not be hanging around each other." And the next night was St. Louis, and that was a Friday, I think, and then on Saturday in Chicago, they're like, there shouldn't be more than 300 people in a gathering, you know what I mean? So we had like 240 pre-sales that night, but a lot of people didn't come. So like they let I mean, it was probably about 250 people there at that show, but said that a lot of pre-sales didn't show up due to the scare of the pandemic. And then we did Detroit, Michigan the next night, and pretty much Beneath the Massacre didn't even play that show because they went across the border to Canada because they were worried like about not getting home. And then when we got to the border in Detroit, we got denied entry. We had 4 shows. We had Ottawa, Toronto, Quebec, or Montreal, Quebec City, and we got denied entry. They were like, no Americans, no, just we don't want.
Wow.
So I think our next 3 shows were like Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York. Instead of going straight up, we had 4 days off, and so we took the long way around the Great Lakes, went down Michigan, and did Ohio, Pennsylvania, and all the way across New York. And by the time we got to Albany, New York, 13 more shows were canceled. So,
oh man.
So,
like, does it look good?
4 shows, we would have had 17 shows. I mean, they were still doing shows in like Florida and Texas, which I think they would have. They had the gates open there for a while in those states. But anyway, we parted ways. Jason just lives outside Albany, so John got a rental car and drove to New York City. We're like, okay, we drove 13 hours. Let's just kick it tonight, and we'll take off as soon as we wake up in the morning. So we went to get some groceries, and the grocery stores were completely empty. You know, like we got a couple frozen pizzas and some wings and a 30-pack of beer and
yeah.
You know, I mean, it was like me, Jason, and Mike kicked it, and then I think we woke up like 6 o'clock in the morning, and at a 21 to 24, we had a van with a fully loaded trailer, so you can't go super fast. But
sure.
So me and Mike drove from Albany to Topeka, Kansas, and it was a ghost town out there, and there was no food really, like all the fast food or whatever was closed, and you couldn't walk in, and we have a van with a trailer, so we couldn't really pull through a drive-through, you know what I mean? So a bigger van, you know what I mean? So anyway, we got to Kansas, and then dropped Mike off there, and then I drove from Kansas City to San Francisco, about 35 hours or so, and man, there was stretches, I've done so many tours there, but there were stretches of very popular highway that I was the only vehicle on the road,
Oh yeah.
It was zombie land. So basically got back to San Francisco, and first of all, the city was shut down because of the pandemic, riots, the BLM riots, and I didn't have work per se, so I just kind of watched the news a lot. I remodeled my apartment. I don't answer the devil's work.
Right.
And I was just trying to be safe and stay indoors,
sure.
But 2021, to extend this a little bit, I basically said in March of 2021, I need to write a song to have an album out by the summer of 2022 in case the world opens back up. I need to be in the studio by January of 2022. So in March, I sat down and I was like, I need to write a song per month to have an album out by summer 2022. So I was very adamant about focusing on practicing, writing material,
stay fresh.
Yeah, 3 night, I work better with a deadline, and so we kind of put that on myself. And
good.
And here we are, 25 months after the pandemic, we were out on the road again and released our 8th full-length album and our 25-year anniversary.
All right. So you've been setting up this new material for quite some time then?
I didn't really have any. I had maybe a riff or two, but I have probably like 7 phones of like thousands of riffs that I just recorded myself. Hey, check out this riff.
Sure.
But so I don't. I don't have I didn't Chaosmos there only maybe only the opening riff to Panoptical, the kind of a tappy kind of Eddie Van Halen kind of thing that I do. That's the only thing that was really been sitting around. I finally found a way to use that to make that into a song per se, because it was just a fun run that I used to do, just like hanging out shredding. And that's usually what I do. Is it usually is like some kind of thing I have fun playing. I was like, oh, you know what, I should try to make this into a song. So yeah, that's pretty much, you know, the shortened version of my pandemic, featuring Paul Ryan by himself.
But a lot of this material, like how long would you say did it take from like when you started having ideas for the new music up until the point of recording? Like how long was that process?
9 months.
9 months.
So like I said, I mean, there's 8 songs on the album, you know, like Heat Death is like a 8.5-minute song. So I was thinking that for a moment I thought that was going to be 2 songs, but then I just felt like it was more epic as one. So that's why there's only 8 new songs. But yeah, so basically March, April, you know, April I started writing the second track, and I would practice, and I was like towards the end of April I was like, I need to start creating you know, and I when I play I had these little riff sinews, these tissue connectors that I'm like, oh, that doesn't work with this song, but I'm definitely going to keep that over here, and maybe that will form into something and usually turn into another song. Some people say it's lazy, but I don't. I mean, in the earlier days, we pushed out albums a little quicker, but I try to make it so that the albums sound different. You know, I want them to sound like Origin, but I want you to be able to put on Chaosmos and know, hey, this is Origin. But it doesn't sound like Entity, or it doesn't sound like I, or you know what I mean? I want it to have, and I want those albums to sound like themselves too. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So it's important for me to have variance in our discography.
Does everybody have like their own independence and responsibility? Like, do you have much say in the drum work? Do you have much say in what Jason writes lyrically, or how does what's the?
I mean, okay, so I mean, like the guys I'm very comfortable with, you know, like John might be like, hey, what do you know, like, do you want a pattern blast, or you want a gravity blast? Or we have all these different names for blasts. You know, like a pattern blast is where he follows the feet while he's blasting over the top.
Yeah.
When you want a pattern blast with feet, or you want a pattern blast with hands, you know what I mean? You want a one-hand roll? Do you want a single foot grind? Do you want a bomb blast? So we have all blood to kick. We have all, you know, like, okay, hey, we got basic ideas, you know, we'll talk about it, and then I'll go, man, John, I just don't know. Why don't you just throw some Longstreth all over that shit and call it your own? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I'm fortunate to jam with guys like that. I have some basic ideas, maybe some of the compositional dynamics, like I want this part to be this or that, but like as far as like, you know, I'm never dictating like what they, you know, they bring. I consider the album stock until those guys put their stamp on it. You know, Mike knows my hands, how, you know, so that's 764-821 or 764-218. You know what I mean? It's like he understands like just how my fingers work, because we've been jamming together so long now.
Right.
And like he, you know, he brings like, oh, I'm gonna do a little added piece of this, or I'm gonna do an octave melody or a third, or you know what I mean. And then Jason, so usually I wrote like the first song's lyrics on the last 2 albums, because Jason was like wanted to make sure that it retained the original Origin sound.
Yeah.
And but with this album, he wrote all the lyrics, and really there was like maybe a 5 parts that I was like, what if we tried this instead of that? You know what I mean? Like, and so, you know, there wasn't, you know, like I said, there's like a symbiosis that's been going on with the band now for some time. And so we, there wasn't much like, you know, each is their own boss, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's that, I mean, yes, I'm specific on certain ideas, like how I want the song to go,
Sure.
but they bring their own parts to the table. And, you know, when we, and even them, like the outro to Heat Death, they didn't even know it was gonna be on the album. I wrote that after everyone else had left the studio. So, and like when the vocals are all done and the bass is all done, well, the first is the drums, then it's the bass and the guitar, and then they layer the vocals, and then we do the backing vocals, and then the other guys are done in the studio. And then I go in and do like the harmonies and the leads, and then like the outro to Heat Death. I made that up like the night before while someone was tracking vocals. And so when we push play, it's just like anybody else. We don't have these songs pre-rehearsed where we have jammed them in a room and heard how it goes. We push play and we have to sit there and go, man, well, this is what it's gonna be.
Wow, right on.
We like it as much as for our fan base. So there's pressure to it. I mean, we've been doing albums like that now since like Echoes of Decimation. So
yeah.
But you know, it's like I think none of the guys knew that the outro was coming. I like the suspense of that, you know what I mean?
Right on.
So, on Decolonizer, stuff like that, you know, they didn't know I told them there was gonna be a solo in that song somewhere, but they didn't know where per se.
Well, I think I speak for a lot of like longtime Origin fans and some new fans. You guys achieved again another great album in Chaosmos, and congratulations to you guys. Again, 25 years, Origin has been just ripping faces. Happy anniversary to I, as you pointed out. Paul Ryan right here of Origin, just face melting shredder. And real quick, do you listen to a lot of modern or like new bands, or even not modern bands, but what's on your jukebox right now? What are you listening to?
As far as like new or so I'm the classic old school death metal guy.
Right on.
I like you know, you'll find me listening to Carcass, Symphonies of Sickness, or like Bolt Thrower, War Master.
Nice.
You know, that, you know, Deicide, Legion, or in stuff like that, more so than the new stuff. I do, you know, when we're on tour, I listen to, you know, I watch all the bands live. I get a good idea. Like, I enjoy live music. Some of the bands I can enjoy live, but I would never listen to. I don't even listen to Origin per se. Origin music is how people think, and like I like listening to Origin when I'm practicing to it.
Sure, makes sense.
When I listen to it, it's different for me because I'm fidgety, because I'm like I want to play or something. You know what I mean?
Right. No, of course I get it.
Okay. So I mean, I love Deeds of Flesh. I mean, rest in power, Eric Lindmark. We got to do some shows with him back in the day. Right now, you know, like Sonny, you know, like people are like, you probably listen to the most crazy stuff, and I'm like, I don't know. I listen to this band right now. It's called Cruelty.
Cruelty, right on.
From Japan.
Nice.
I don't know if you've heard them. Check them out. They're an up and coming band. If you like Obituary, but
from Japan.
Like it's a slower tempo band. You know what I mean? Like,
nice.
Check them out.
Definitely.
I've been following them for a little bit, and super into what they're doing.
Nice. Cool.
It's like Cyanide meets Obituary. It's super heavy, and they're from Tokyo, and I just been really that's the newest thing I've been rocking on. But it sounds old, so I don't know what to say, you know.
I feel you, man.
I listen to Harmony Corruption and Clandestine, you know. That's new to me. But for something new that maybe bands people that I don't know if the Origin fan base will be into it, but if you like an old school kind of death metal hardcore band with death metal vocals and super breakdowns, and like it's just super easy to circle pit, it's like I just think it's crushing, like monster stop, like Hulk stomping music. So that's what I've been listening to. So check it out.
Right on.
I'm sure they're not that well known yet, but Cruelty with the K from Tokyo.
Check them out, definitely. We have like a minute left. Any last things you want to say to the new and old Origin fans?
Thanks for all the years of support. Thanks for KNAC for being such a stable and the metal hard rock community for 40 years, maybe.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Somewhere in there. I'm very proud to be associated with this. I think I remember seeing Dokken
Nice.
on the It's Not Love video with the KNAC sponsorship. So I know I'm a little
you know, that's awesome, dude.
I'm very proud to be a part of this KNAC interview, and thank you, Origin fan base, for checking us out. I hope you enjoy Chaosmos, and we'll see you on the road soon.
Sounds good, dude. Thanks, Paul, for your time. Horns and the fist bumps to the whole Origin camp, and we will catch you guys soon. Chaosmos on Nuclear Blast. Blast that shit. And hail space.
Thank you so much for the interview. Have a great rest of the day.
You too, bro. Cheers.